I clicked record. Let's see how
Got
it
it.
goes.
All right, it's recording.
Thank you. All right, so yeah, if you can go to slideshow. So good evening. So welcome to S.A.F.E 24/7's informational webinar on safety, preparedness, and energy efficiency. My name is Dean Heiss. I'm a senior manager in the project management organization at Edison. And I'm also President Emeritus of S.A.F.E 24/7's Business Resource Group. One of the 4 volunteers here tonight that's going to be walking through this deck. Sarah, if you'd like to introduce yourself, and then we can go to Alex and Monique.
Hi, my name is Sarah Johnson, and I am currently in the billing department, but I have an extensive background in energy efficiency and customer service, so I'm really keen on sharing some of the rebates and incentive information that we have for our residential and commercial customers. I'm currently serving as the Director of Community Outreach, so any way that we can serve the community by showing the way of safety, that's what we're about.
Awesome. Hello, everyone. My name is Alex Berberian. I'm currently the area distribution planner for the cities of Buena Park and Cypress. So I handle all the new requests for new electrical load, new construction, existing homes, just upgrading your panel. Even I handle it all from from step 1 to all the way to construction completion. That's how my hair looks in the morning. This is how it looks at 7 p.m. after a long day teleworking. Going forward, I was a Cal Poly Pomona student up until a couple years ago. I did my undergrad and graduate degree there. I was part of the MBA program over there. Of course, I'm sure there's a lot of great collaboration. I've had the pleasure of being a guest speaker at one of the Introduction to Management classes here at Cal State Long Beach, so go Beach. It's been awesome. I'm currently a doctorate student in business administration at Taft University, completing it online as fast as possible. And of course, on our free time, I'm S.A.F.E 24/7's vice president. I'm energized to serve. Thank you for having us.
Hey, Monique, so it's a little hard to hear you.
Is this any better? Let's see, let me put a headset on.
Hey, there it is. Yep.
How's that? Better?
Perfect. Perfect.
Okay, good. Hi, my name's Monique Weiland. I've been working with Edison for 20 years and 30 years in the emergency planning and preparedness industry. Right now, I'm an advisor in the compliance group on the energy trade floor, providing support to the personnel for emergency conditions, business continuity plans, and other compliance documents. I've been the president for S.A.F.E 24/7, so I'm also an emeritus, but I'm also right now the secretary.
All right, thank you, Monique, Alex, and Sarah. Sarah, did you want to go through our vision and mission of the ERG, or the BRG?
Yes, so our mission here states that we want to provide a unique approach to safety by offering educational resources. We do a lot of safety brown bags. We have giveaways. So we really do try to make it a unique way to keep our employees and community informed about preparedness. Our mission, bullet points, mission of safety ambassadors to strengthen SCE culture, safety culture, and support the goal of working and living injury-free by harnessing our employees' passion for safety to inspire themselves and engage their colleagues. We have a number of different programs that we put together, bulletins, different contests. Another is enhancing safety communication, providing educational programming. So again, we have lots of different levels of safety for different types of audiences, from school age to college level and beyond. We also try to promote safety messages, programs, and events, and then sharing best practices and enhancing safety-related information. That's it.
And this is a video highlighting some of our company's achievements over the last 130 years. I don't think you can hear the audio, is that correct?
We can, Alex. If you turn it back up, yeah, we can hear it.
Cool. All righty. There's a reason why it's called the electric guitar. We like to rock and roll here at Southern California Edison. All sorts of good things coming forward. It's a little bit about what we did here in 2020. Of course, this was a year like no other, and we had to go and adapt quickly. One of the things we had to do was get 2/3 of our workforce transitioned to remote work, pretty much what felt like overnight, but it was done very, very quickly within a couple of weeks or so. And of course, it had minimal disruptions, so we were actually very flexible in that and embraced technology and the benefits it can provide. Of course, we also accommodated people that could not pay their electric bill, and 100% of service disconnections for payment were absolutely canceled. So we were very much concerned with what everyone was going through, and of course, we needed to go keep the lights on through this unprecedented time. In terms of our grid work, we published a white paper about reimagining the grid that talks about our goal to 2045, our pathway to 2045, where 100% of carbon-free power is used at that time. Of course, we signed plenty of megawatts for energy storage, and something that's more palpable to us, we got almost 1,500 charging ports installed through our Charge Ready program. So you'll see a lot of those coming through, apartment buildings, even own houses, maybe malls, all partnered with us to make sure that they are accessible to people who own electric vehicles, and that way we can jointly promote their use. In terms of our DEI efforts, we got 10 new diversity, equity, and inclusion commitments. And of course, we as ERGs and business resource groups work hand in hand with our diversity, equity, and inclusion team from HR to ensure that we can go and propel ourselves to be the leader in that space. And of course, in terms of our operational efficiency, not only due to telework, but we are 16% lower than the average monthly residential bill compared to the national average. This is in part due to our very strict maintenance protocols, as well as, of course, our streamlined efficiency and adherence to our value of continuous improvement. Something a little closer to my shop is 960 miles of overhead power lines were replaced with insulated wire. That greatly helps reduce wildfire risk by mitigating the actual source of ignition. And of course, we got 6,000 poles that are fire resistant, made with all sorts of different materials, very cutting edge technology, to go ahead and place in those high fire areas to further reduce that risk. So we're really on the front ends of mitigation, efficiency, and ensuring that we have a clean energy future. Some things we can all do to make sure that we all get there safely, which is our #1 value. That's why we're called Safe 24/7. We definitely work to strengthen our safety culture, is by encouraging us to always call 811 when you're doing anything that involves digging in or around your home. This is because there's a whole city of things underneath your ground that you wouldn't really know, and they're not clearly marked. This can be anything from water pipes to gas pipes to electric lines. And it would be harmful to go and accidentally hit any of those when it can very, very easily be prevented by this free service called 811. Essentially, you would call it, they partner with all the utilities, they would come out and mark to the best of their knowledge where the pipelines or lines might be, and you would steer clear of that area. It's a great, great proactive approach to safely doing work when digging. And as you know, when we drive by, we see, of course, the lovely safety squirrel on billboards, on TV, on YouTube. That is a reminder to be safe around the wires that are more plainly seen, the overhead wires. It's a great idea to always keep as far away as possible from these lines, especially 10 feet when you're kind of trimming trees, making sure that the power doesn't jump over to you while you're going ahead and doing your work. Of course, one thing we can always handle is not releasing metallic balloons up into the lines. we can go ahead and do that by just getting a proper weight attached to it. So the safety squirrel demonstrates that exactly, and it doesn't actually cause a hazardous issue, what we call an arc phase. And that's something that can actually start fires in the future and prove to be a very preventable safety hazard. So while overhead wires really power our lives, and they're everywhere, seemingly, once I told you, you're going to notice them as you drive by pretty much any neighborhood, they can easily be a source of a safety hazard. And of course, when you see a downed wire, you have to make sure to call Edison and 911. In the process, stay far away and do not touch anyone or anything that may be in the vicinity of that wire. That's because the power can possibly flow to you and cause damage or even death. So, and even your car, if that comes over you, just stay in the car if there's no real ignition source happening at that point. If you must get out, however, you have to go and jump out and shuffle your feet to dissipate any charge that may have accumulated as a result of your close proximity to that possibly energized line. So just tips to include: call 911 and Edison anytime you have any question about any downed lines. A lot of these lines may not be power lines, they may be phone lines or anything else, but of course it's equally important to stay away and treat it as if it were energized and call the right authorities, mainly 911 and Edison. And then I'll show up and I'll show you the safety squirrel and give you a good hello. In terms of outages, it's a good idea to check your neighbor's power. So leave the light on and see if your neighborhood's out for a preventative maintenance outage or a PSPS event. Just understand that, there's a good chance that you and your neighbor are probably on the same circuit. So if they're on, you might be on, but of course it's a good idea, and you're going to hear about this more from our resident expert, Monique, to keep flashlights and extra batteries nearby. Being prepared is the best way to ensure that you can have the most successful experience through any kind of outage or wind event or natural disaster of any type. Even though you might be without power and it may be cold, it's not recommended to light a fire indoors. Naturally, this is due to possible carbon monoxide poisoning, but also due to the safety threat of having a flame. Candles can be avoided if at all possible. It's a good idea to go ahead and keep your battery-powered flashlights, maybe your hand crank radio, anything that is a little more conservative in terms of its safety hazard. So leave one light on and you'll get to see when the power comes back. If you stay away from fallen poles and wires, it'd be great for everybody. And of course, stay in to report an electric outage. That's our number. You don't have to memorize it. You can very well Google our customer service line, and of course, call 911 and have them talk to us as well. When the outage is hopefully over, or the process of it being remediated, you'll see Edison police. You'll see people dressed in vests and hard hats as pictured over here. It's always a good idea to check their employee ID before allowing them to come to your house or your business, just making sure that they are utility employees. As you may have known, throughout the COVID pandemic, there were all sorts of scams and fraudulent calls and requests made by people claiming to be from banks and utility companies and everything else. So it's a great idea. Edison employees will proudly display their badge and will be happy to show it to you. And that'll just make sure everybody's staying safe throughout the entire experience. A little bit more about those metallic balloons I mentioned earlier. The safety squirrel serves its purpose, saying, no, do not do this. The balloon weights can cause an outage that can probably take thousands of people out and serve as a fire safety ignition source. So retrieving balloons are only to be done by qualified personnel from us. So if you see one, definitely report it to us. We will thank you, but however, do never, under any circumstance, attempt to remove it yourself. It's a great idea to go, of course, and call 911 immediately if you think that it's too close to the lines and an outage is not, it has to happen, essentially. It's going to happen. This is what it looks like. Yes, I won't be sure because I would have to probably wake up at 3 a.m. to go ahead and plan the remediation effort at that point. And of course, that can ended up a lot worse than what happened. There could have been sparks that started another fire, and a lot of people would have been out, and they were in this case. But you can see that metallic balloons and electric wires do not mix. It's a very simple thing we can do, but it can save us a lot of heartache and keep a lot of people online. All right, now I'll turn it over to Monique, our resident experts for all things preparedness related.
Thank you, Alex. But I have one question for you with the instructions that you gave about jumping out of a car. Aren't you supposed to land with both feet at the same time?
Yes, same time, and then shuffling throughout. So usually it's kind of going to be a dive out of the window, And unless it's immediate, right, unless there's something happening that, of course, don't touch anything, but usually you have to make that judgment call as you see fit. But that is the proper way. You get out immediately. All parts of your body should be exiting the vehicle as close to the same time as possible, and you shuffle the feet so you don't touch anything. And so you kind of just dissipate anything that might have been in your contact.
Right. And when we say shuffle, we mean do not pick your feet up off the ground.
Yep.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. Very low proximity to to your knee shuffle. So just quick and easy.
Yes, I just want to make that clear. So as you know, emergencies can happen at any time and in many forms and never when it's convenient. So being prepared does take time, learning information and money, but your survival is worth every moment and every penny. So it can seem like a giant task, but if you figure out what's the most important thing for you to protect, usually it's your family, and then go from there, figuring out the parts and pieces that need to be put in place. Has anyone experienced or seen a transformer blow like what Alex just showed?
Just that video.
Well,
Fortunately.
No,
That's a good thing. That's a great
well,
thing.
anyhow, that just gives you a great example that just like boom, in 1 second, things can change. That could be a power outage for you for 1 or more hours. And it may be just you or could be the entire neighborhood as well. But are you ready? And as Alex already brought up, have your flashlights ready. Have a contingency plan in your back pocket. For example, if you were planning to have dinner with your friends or have your friends over for dinner, now there's no power. Can your dinner that you prepared now be turned into a picnic? Or do you now choose to go out for a restaurant? So always kind of think the next step. What could happen if this is wrong? If you go into a mall, always know what the closest exit is, because you just need to be careful and be able to escape quickly in certain situations. But planning is the key for successful survival. Getting a kit is a really good step. Kit lists are available on ready.gov and the American Red Cross websites. In fact, there are many websites now. When I first started in this industry in 1990, there was like 2 sources, but now there's preppers and all kinds of things. So it's really important that if you do choose to use other websites, that you make sure that they're valid and that they will provide you good information. So there's some kit basics like water, food, first aid, hygiene supplies, clothing, medication, etc. But kits can also be customized and designed for specific purposes, like for pets, for children, for your car, being in the office. They can be serviceable in many, many areas. So just make sure and customize them according to the needs. So this slide right now shows you a set of the basics. And some of the things that are also good to include that may not be on a normal list is things like bug spray. So take a look and learn some more. Check them every 6 months so you can check for expiration dates. If you do include clothing, then the 6-month mark will help you transition from California's quote winter to summer, and also to make sure that the clothes still fit. The next slide, please. There we go. Okay. Ready.gov is a great website, as I mentioned, and September is National Preparedness Month. So on the ready.gov website, they're featuring a 4-step process, a new topic for every week. And this week happens to be, well, the first week was make a plan, and this last week was build a kit. This current week is called low cost, no cost preparedness. And next week is teach your youth about preparedness. I think it was the E group that created a whole teenage program for working with kids and preparedness, and they became the preparedness zombies. So it really attracted them to participate. So finding a topic really helps. What's showing here is make sure that you have smoke detectors. Some can be combined as smoke and CO detectors, but definitely make a plan, because planning is where everything starts. Make sure that you include everybody in your family when you do this. Even if it's just a husband and wife, you both need to know what's the safest way for you to exit out of the house and where the assembly location is, so that both of you know exactly where to meet, to know that both of you got out safely if somebody had to go out the back door and somebody went out the front door. The bottom picture is showing a telephone that apparently doesn't need to be connected to anything. I've never seen it or used it, but what it also highlights is the fact that you need to have a communication plan. So if you're both in different places and can't see, touch, hear, or talk to each other, then you need to have some kind of communication plan to know how to reach yourselves. And if it's a widespread event like an earthquake, a lot of people that may live out of the area are going to wonder about your own personal safety, and will be calling in and getting a busy tone where all the phone systems are down in the area. So if you have one person that you know you can reach in a long distance situation, pick them and have them be the sort of like operator for you, for being the intermediary between you, your friends, and the rest of your family. The important thing is that in our area, because our telephone system is now digital, when you pick up the phone, if you don't hear a fast busy, wait, and the system will finally click around to come back around to that exchange and give you a dial tone. So you're going to kind of have to remember to react fast when you hear that and start dialing your number right away before it rolls on to the next number. Next slide.
Absolutely. Just a little bit about this phone, Monique. It's not as fancy as it may seem. It's an old-fashioned corded phone, and they oftentimes don't need a separate power outlet. So in the case that you have an electrical outage, but the phone lines are up, these kind of phones have a very high probability of working. So that's what it would be, connected to your phone line, but not to the power. And they're found everywhere, even Amazon, for quite cheap, and can serve as a great tool for your communication plan.
If you have a phone line in your house, because there is a difference between a phone line and a data line for a computer.
Yes, assuming if you have a phone line, a landline, yes.
Yes, and they're very expensive these days. Not the phone to purchase, the use of the landline to have it available.
Yep,
okay.
Yep, it's worth looking into.
Well, thanks for that highlight. I think we've covered ready.gov already. Be informed. And the one part that they don't show anymore that I loved was really important was get involved. So be involved in your community. And if you go to the next slide, this will really help us point that out for you. Altruism, the desire and wish to help others is really, really good. And it comes out so well during emergencies, how much people want to help each other if they're okay themselves, and situationally aware, not going to put themselves at risk to go in and help somebody. But if you're going to go beyond your own group, like with Neighborhood Watch, you can do the same thing in a preparedness program. And there's a great one available online called Map Your Neighborhood by Ann Johnson out of the state of Washington. And if you find hers, it's going to be in a weird place because it's under their military tab. But it does save people, and it's been implemented in a lot of cities. Long Beach may already have it, and you can get the training through them and then share it with your neighbor and just spread this great preparedness opportunity through neighbor-to-neighbor capabilities. So that's a great way of creating plans, because that helps you learn who your neighbors are, which house they have, where their water and gas shut off if you have gas is, and the electrical panel, as well as who's got skills, who's got equipment, who's got special needs, like young children that may be home by themselves if the adult gets injured, elderly people that are going to need help and guidance or company. So that's a really great program to help you with that. The next one, the first on scene, means that we know that there's not enough fire department, paramedics, and ambulance services available to serve every community. So you may be the ones that have to be providing that first medical coverage in your community. There's a program on FEMA, Be the First on, it's not first on scene, but it's a topic very similar to that. And I always forget what the title is, but it gives you great guidance on trauma kind of first aid as opposed to general first aid, which is what we usually learn. And then the psychological safety, very important. You're going to have two kinds of people when they respond. They're either going to freeze or they're going to jump into action. And sometimes the people you think will jump into action are the ones that are going to freeze. But what the American Red Cross has learned is if somebody is having a very difficult time dealing with the situation that they're going through at the moment, give them something to do, because that distracts them. It gives them responsibility. They feel like they're contributing, and it'll help minimize that fear that they're going through at the time. Talking it out, sharing it with other people really helps as well. But also reinforcing that safety culture, making sure that you are safe, the environment is safe, that you have to always be ready for changing that kind of view of where you are. For example, when we had the Northridge earthquake, nobody wanted to go into any of the shelters that the American Red Cross set up because there were so many aftershocks, and they were afraid the building would come down on them. So through the Salvation Army, they got giant medical army tents and set them up in the parks, where people felt a lot more comfortable being in the outdoors than being in a building with all the aftershocks. So be ready to adjust to whatever situation you're in, and be creative as well. So the next slide. Community emergency response teams. Most cities do have these programs. The LA County Fire Department is responsible for offering training. It is totally free. I highly recommend it because it takes you through trauma first aid, how to deal with situational awareness when you decide that it's safe or not safe for you to be in there. And once you go through the program, they give you your own backpack, your own helmet, and you're good to go. And if your city has a community emergency response team, you can join up and they will continue your training so that you always keep your skills fresh and learn new tricks. One of the things that I thought was really cool that we learned was how to actually use and feel what a fire extinguisher responds like. I mean, it's got a big kick, so you really need to brace yourself and bend your knees so you can react to the jolt when it starts. And always start at the bottom of the flame, not the top. The other one is cribbing, learning how to build up materials so that you can lift heavier objects off of somebody if they happen to be pinned underneath it. So CERT teaches you an awful lot, and it's a great opportunity to get involved with your community, meet new people, and continue to share the preparedness message as well as safety. And that takes me to the next slide that goes on to Dean.
Monique, thank you for the, well, thank you, Alex, for the electrical safety, and then Monique for the emergency preparedness. So this is the third and final segment of the evening, and that is energy efficiency. And as you guys heard at the beginning, Sarah has a lot of experience in this. So Sarah, feel free to jump in and elaborate. But we'll first start off with a quick video that explains a few things that Edison is doing regarding energy efficiency.
By 2045, California will undergo a remarkable evolution to become 100% carbon neutral. The state will zero out the CO2 emissions that are a leading cause of climate change. Most of the changes will come from rethinking the way we produce and use electricity, and the way we power transportation and buildings. Southern California Edison has analyzed a path forward, looking at the most energy-efficient, cost-effective route with the least disruptions to customers and to industry. Cleaning the energy supply is going to be key to reaching our goals. By 2045, 100% of the electricity we use will come from carbon-free sources. We are going to need a lot of energy storage in order to time shift solar and wind energy to use when the sun isn't shining and the wind isn't blowing. "50% of the single-family homes in the state will have solar panels that will contribute clean energy. By 2045, 75% of our vehicles will need to run on electricity. Battery-powered cars will drink off the clean power supply. Some trucks might need to use low-carbon fuels, such as biodiesel or hydrogen. 70% of homes and buildings will be all electric. Most families will save money, especially if they use electric cars, and use electric heat pump technologies for air conditioning and heating. The CO2 emissions that remain will need to be cleaned from the atmosphere, either through technical processes or through natural processes, such as the planting of new trees. Getting to carbon neutrality would be an extraordinary transformation for California in only 25 years and will allow all Californians to participate in the fight against climate change. For more information and to read our report, visit edison.com/pathway2045.
All right, perfect. Ingrid, Wade, have you read our white paper on 2045 by any chance?
I have not.
No, I haven't.
Okay.
Didn't know you had that.
Yep. Yeah, do check it out. You can type in, Edison Pathway 2045, and it's a pretty good white paper. We put a lot of effort into it. And we've recently updated it, I believe. So I think we have 2 white papers on it.
I had a question.
Yeah.
About the 2045 target of 100%. And I think that the state had a target of 30% in 2020. Where do you stand now?
I think we made that one already in terms of our grid.
I think you made it in like 2017, but
Right.
Is it now at the same it was in 2017, or has it?
Oh, I think we were 50% last year. Sarah, Monique, Alex, correct me if I'm wrong. I think we were there. Was it actually on the introduction slide? As a note, it might have been.
I don't know, but I can tell you on the energy trade floor, we're continuing to help install a lot of battery source storage locations and trying to figure out the best way to get them connected to the grid for full use.
Oh yeah.
Because our grid has never been bi-directional. It's always been one direction from the generation through the wires down to a house. So having houses turn energy back is a whole new process for us.
Yeah.
How did the law about new buildings requiring solar affect your plans? Is that in your 2045?
It is, Wade. And it helps us achieve it, essentially. What that was showing, like the energy storage, but it also showed all the distributed energy resources in that video. Like it showed all those essentially rooftop solar, where all that energy was going to come from. So it really helped our plan. In fact, like we helped push that law through. Like we supported that law, so that we would have more distributed energy resources to fuel this need for resources. And I'll have to get back to you on where we were at, but I know we've been improving it every year significantly. And just off the top of my head, I think we were at 50% last year, which is pretty substantial.
Yeah, and just alone at the end of this month, we'll probably be connecting 50 megawatts more of storage.
So yeah, we're bringing on storage as much as possible. And the more new homes with solar and the more solar that comes on, it helps us create that grid of the future.
So do you partner with like AES and their battery storage units here? Or do you have your own battery storage units?
Monique might know this a little bit more, but we do power purchase agreements with individuals. If AES is one of them, we could partner with them. And we are building energy storage, and we have plans to build more energy storage as a company to get to that 2045. It is in the white paper, like where we're going with it, specific things that we're going to be doing and that we require. And recommendations for other industry as well, including transportation, that we will have to support, of course. If we move to electrify the entire fleet of trucks throughout the Southland, throughout our region, well, we're going to have to put in infrastructure to support that. So that is included.
All right.
Yeah, I think we're well on our way, and I think we can do it. And in fact, we're ahead, I think. So yeah, good questions. Could you go back one slide, Alex, please? Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, thank you for running this tonight. This is awesome. So energy efficiency and conservation. These are 2 very different things, but they end up, getting us to our goal, our Pathway 2045. So energy efficiency is using more efficient appliances and making home improvements to essentially, save energy. So it's more efficiency, right? and it saves energy and it saves money, and it saves our environment, right? Whereas conservation is using less and it requires no financial investment. It's simply turning things off, right? Using things less frequently, not having the light on, whereas otherwise you would have it on. Whereas energy efficiency is, if you have that light on, is the bulb efficient versus not efficient, right? Energy conservation is turning it all off and not even using it. That saves energy, money, and the environment. Both of them do that. And energy conservation is the cleanest, most inexpensive kilowatt hour because it doesn't have to be produced. So from an energy conservation standpoint. So that's the difference between the two, but those are our tools to help us get to our pathway 2045. So energy efficiency and conservation. You can go to the next slide. And if you're wondering, well, how do I become more energy efficient? Well, we have an energy advisor at Edison. And you can visit your account for a personalized energy saving recommendation for both your home and your business. And you can, there's also a phone number, which we'll have at the end, that you can contact them via phone if you prefer that instead of going under your account. But if you go to your account on the left-hand side, it'll be, on your home, it'll have a comment making your home more efficient. And then you click on Energy Advisor underneath that. And that'll essentially point you to all the latest energy management technology that's available and get, find resources such as smart products or programs or tools to help you control and manage your energy use. We're going to dive through a few of those. I am not an energy advisor. I don't think anyone, one of us on the call are, but we'll go over at high level, and then you can definitely follow up with a specific energy advisor that could help you with your specific solutions. On that website, it has a business energy management center. This is not for home use. This is for those of you who have businesses and have questions about how to make your business more energy efficient. We have 3 different areas, and if you click on each one of them, it has a litany of things underneath it. But the 3 areas, just from a high level standpoint, are smart products, smart programs, and smart tools. Regarding products, we have exciting new intelligent devices available in our marketplace to help us manage our energy use via the web and your phone on a mobile app or via sensors. And you can find out how switching or upgrading to those innovative products can make a huge difference in energy savings by visiting the marketplace underneath those that smart products vein. And it has energy specific ways to make your business more efficient, or sorry, industry specific ways to make your business most efficient. So if your business is in food service, you own a restaurant, for instance, you'll be able to click on the industry for food service equipment and shop that marketplace for energy efficient products there versus, garment manufacturing and that type of stuff. So it is customized for the industry. Underneath smart programs, which is that second one, essentially participating in smart programs is an easy way to help you realize energy savings and take advantage of our opportunities to manage your energy more efficiently. There are 15 programs listed in the Business Energy Management Center underneath smart programs. So there's a ton of programs out there that are like mandated by federal or state or local agencies that funnel through this Business Energy Management Center through Edison to you. And programs include on-bill financing for businesses, which will help your business fund energy efficient products via loans that are repaid through your energy bill with no interest and no fees. So that just gets funneled through us as a convenience from that program that's providing that funding. That's just one of the 15 different programs listed underneath smart programs. And they change as new bills are passed by federal or local agencies or state agencies. They get funneled through here. So it's always good to come back to this smart programs section underneath your Business Energy Management Center to find what programs are now available for you, which again, your energy advisor can help you advise through this. And the third part of this is smart tools. which are online tools that provide valuable analysis, projections, and advice to help you manage your energy use. They are all no cost and offer quick and convenient access via these smart tools. I'm not sure if Wade, you or Ingrid have used any of these smart tools, not for your business, but for your home. A lot of them show, analytics and projections of what your current use is and, where it's projecting you to be at. I think, Wade, you were joking the other day that, like, since you have an electric vehicle or something, it's saying like, you use 40% more than your neighbor or something like that, right?
Yes. No, that's, I do get the letters from Edison saying, here's what your neighbor's using, here's what you're using.
Yep.
But it was more along the lines of during the pandemic, working out of home versus being gone all day with nothing turned on. It's a very different, big difference in our use profile.
Exactly.
And so hopefully in the coming years, it will be more predictable.
Right. As you work out of an office regularly and not at home, for instance. Right. And so do your neighbors. Good point. So this is very similar to that, but for the business. So.
I have a question about these products, programs, and tools.
Yep.
Is there a certain size of business that this is more relevant for? If I'm a small business person with a corner grocery store,
yep,
is it as relevant as Port of Long Beach? Or?
Good question. It is. So they have a specific small business section within these smart programs, which will actually help even startups, for instance, as opposed to Long Beach, Port of Long Beach, which has been here forever and uses a ton of energy. So it is applicable to all businesses. Let me put it that way. And your energy advice. Oh, go ahead.
And there's some analysis or calculators where a small business can say, if I install these light bulbs, I'll save X. Or...
So there's a calculator online, Sarah?
Well, if you go through the programs, they usually have pretty in-depth analysis that it will benefit you. Yep. The program is pretty intensive, and it is for all levels. One thing I would just share with anyone is that if you're looking to do the incentives, please check out all the requirements first, whether you're looking at residential or business, because they are, a lot of them mandated and going through the government. They have very specific requirements on who completes the work, and not just any contractor is qualified to complete it. And if you have the work done by somebody else, you may not qualify for some of these incentives. But yeah, if you do give our energy efficiency department a call, they can give you a great in-depth detail, whether your business is a small cafe or they do large energy efficiency for say multiple targets across the South Bay. They're all sides of projects.
Right.
Wonderful, Sarah. And I'm not sure if how good the online calculators are, but I know that the energy advisors have all the calculations to provide you with, to say, yeah, if you switch to this based on your specific needs, you'll save this much. So, and we have an example of that later on, but kind of like an output and how it pays from an economic standpoint.
Great.
Yep. Yeah, thank you, Sarah. So that is the Business Energy Management Center. If you go to the next slide, just some examples of energy conservation and energy efficiency. So obviously conservation would be turning off your air conditioning, right? And maybe setting it to 78 degrees or auto, raising it to 85 degrees when you're away. That's energy conservation. It won't kick on unless the house gets really hot. And then use a programmable, or better yet, a smart thermostat. So you could, change it when you're away, and then of course, clean and replace the air conditioner filter regularly so that it is more efficient. And this goes for businesses or homes, obviously, because we have to cool them both. The next slide talks about appliance energy conservation. Go to that one, Alex. Thank you. So in general, you want to choose Energy Star appliances for home use because they are more efficient. And then when not in use, it is best to unplug all appliances and devices for a couple reasons, but definitely from an energy conservation standpoint and energy efficient or energy conservation, it'll stop any energy from being like bled through there when it's not in use. And then reserve using washing machine and dryer until late evening. That is our off peak at the moment. That might change if we have 100% renewables. Our peaks would change then to where, if we're not producing electricity because the sun's not shining, our off peak might be middle of the day when the sun is shining. But right now, the energy demand is the lowest in the middle of the evening until late evening. And so that's when we want you using those high energy appliances. And right now your bill's set up most likely to charge you the most during our peak times when everyone else is using electricity essentially. So what I do is on my electric vehicle, when I charge that, and when I run my dishwasher and any other appliance, like my clothing appliances, my washer and dryer, that is, I try to set that as a delay. So like I'll set it to start up in 4 hours, and then I'll go get ready for bed and go to sleep. And it'll run at night when it's off peak, and that helps reduce the demand on the grid. And it reduces my bill as well because it's cheaper electricity right now in the middle of the night. So
Hey, Dean.
Yes.
Just a reminder that when we're on a flex alert, the window of time between 4 and 9 is when we ask everybody not to use any appliances.
Yes. Yeah. So that's late evening, I believe, is right after that, Monique. So
yes,
so that
but
would
you
be...
were saying midday or mid-evening, so I just want to make sure. But
Thank you.
In a flex alert.
Thank you. So yeah, late evening would be like, I'm thinking like 10 or later, and I should have specified that. Thank you, Monique. Yeah, flex alerts. You're right, from 4 to 9 in the afternoons. So that's when you do not want to be using electricity if you have flex alert. So and then you mentioned this earlier, Monique, but if you can enjoy a picnic or outdoor cooking or barbecue, that does help in terms of appliance energy conservation. So. And we don't live in the cold climate, so we can enjoy that more often than others. Next slide is refrigerator energy efficiency. You want to choose the most energy efficient model that you can afford. And you want to check and clean the coils regularly, which is 2 times a year. So that's that every 6-month thing. When you're checking your emergency kit, you can also clean the coils or have them cleaned on your refrigerator. And then a full refrigerator uses way less energy to stay cool. So those empty refrigerators.
Why?
Why is that, Monique?
Because if there's no products in the refrigerator to contain the cold, then all the cold falls out because it's going to go down to the ground because cold air falls. But if everything in the refrigerator and is full is all cold, it'll stay cold.
There you go. I love it.
Oh, all right.
So if you have an empty refrigerator, you are using more energy.
So should go shopping more.
Yep. Or just put stuff in it, even if it doesn't need to be cooled. And then keep doors sealed tightly by replacing leaky gaskets. So yeah, if you have a frayed gasket or something like that, it's just leaking out. So go ahead and replace it, and it will pay for itself in a short amount of time. So. And then lighting, you want to look for Energy Star qualified advanced lighting products to save money on your electrical bills. LEDs, lighting mini diodes, are the most energy efficient lighting out there. Other ways to save money and energy use is to use for indoor lighting, CFLs, in addition to LEDs. You can use occupancy sensors. Those help because then they just turn off the lights when you're not in there or when you're not moving around. And then for outdoor lighting, you can use motion sensors and timers so that they're not just on all the time, or you don't forget about them in the morning and just leave them on all day. And then another thing is to consider solar lighting for outdoor use, because then you're not pulling from the grid. And then, yes,
are there any issues with how to dispose of those light bulbs?
The LEDs?
Yes.
Anyone know? I haven't
What was
had
the question?
I haven't had to dispose of an LED yet because they last so long, but are there any issues for disposing of LEDs, like the lighting waste?
I
I
think
think
all bulbs are considered hazardous material and need to be taken to one of those claim locations.
correct. Yeah, I think most of the bulbs that we use now, they shouldn't need to be replaced theoretically, but if they do, there are special directions on disposing of them, and if they break, there's a special way to clean up as well, I believe.
Yeah, especially fluorescents.
All right.
Good question. And it should be stated on the package when you purchase it, correct? Like what to do with it. So go ahead and read the directions of whatever you've purchased. So, and then
That's a lot of work.
it is work, but it pays. it pays off, and this shows why it pays off. It pays to be energy efficient, Wade. So regarding lights, you have LED there at the top. A lifetime savings on one bulb can be $90, and the cost on it is significantly less than your regular incandescent 40 watt. So you're not saving any money there, you're just spending money there. CFLs, not as much savings, but LEDs, it's more than double a CFL lifetime savings. So it definitely adds up over the lifetime of those lights. So they pay for themselves. And then the refrigerator, similar things. If you have a 6-year-old model versus the latest Energy Star model, you're essentially saving $200 when you have the Energy Star model, and $47 annually. So, but the energy advisors, this is good to stay on this slide. The energy advisors will essentially tell you, the savings associated with energy savings, like implementations that you're doing for your home or your business. So that they'll customize this for you. So, yeah, sorry, go ahead to the next slide. Save Power Day initiative. So this provides a bill credit for usage reduction. So you'll receive a notification via either voicemail, text, or email to reduce your energy usage between a certain amount of time during the day, that peak time where we have an energy concern as a company or as a grid. And then if you reduce energy usage during that time, you'll save money. Essentially, you'll get a credit on your bill. And you can visit your My Account section to start saving by implementing that. Next slide. Other rebate programs and services. These are in general for anyone, not just necessarily a business, but there are a ton out there. Just go to My Account to learn about those. There's a summer discount plan to save up to $200 each summer in bill credits, kind of alluded to earlier. There are variable speed pool pumps and motors. If you have a pool at home, if you get a new pump, variable speed, you can receive a rebate up to $200. There's energy savings assistance for income qualified customers. They can receive energy efficient refrigerators, air conditioners. There's credits for smart thermostats, credits for quality installation of new HVAC systems through participating contractors, as Sarah mentioned. If it's a specific qualified participating contractor, you can get $750 off your HVAC system. There's a evaporative cooler credit of $400. There are just a ton of credits that you can find by visiting your My Account on your energy in your energy section. Sarah, anything else to add to this?
I would just share one thing that usually comes up when we used to speak to customers is that when you're upgrading to a more efficient, the new energy efficient model, a lot of times if you are upgrading from say an old white washer and dryer or your old olive green fridge or something that's really outdated, and you get the newest model, it is very, very efficient. But a lot of times it may be an increase in your bill because it's an actually a bigger product with more bells and whistles. However, it's more efficient, and that's the key that we're trying to get is, you can use anything you want, but try to use it efficiently. And that goes with anything that you're going to get. If it's a very old pool pump and it's not working so well, and you upgrade to a new efficient model, you don't always see the, the exact savings that you're hoping for. A lot of these are savings over the life of the product, the life of the fridge as well. So keep that in mind. But again, just to refer you guys to the website, it's a great resource. If you guys have any specific questions, specific products or programs that we can answer.
Yeah, and that's on the next slide. If you go to the next slide, that's it. If you guys have questions.
Well, she had a premonition.
Yeah. So Wade, Ingrid, and any final questions? If you do go to the last slide there, Alex, that has the Home Energy Advisor phone number there. So you don't have to look that up on the website.
Bonnie has also joined us.
Yes, Monique.
Oh, there was a question, sorry.
Basically, from my perspective, when you look at energy efficiency, a lot of people put things on surge bars and then just turn off the surge bar. Is that equivalent to unplugging the appliances or not?
It's
Yes.
better. It's easier.
Yes.
It's better. It's recommended. Yeah.
What most of the times that they're talking about with unplugging ones is like your cell phone where your charge cord's got a little transformer on it. In the last company I worked in, they called them energy vampires. It's a trickle feed of energy through it all the time. And it's on so many devices now that you really just want to pull that transformer piece off, or if it's plugged into a strip, as soon as you turn off the strip, it's not receiving power anymore.
Okay.
Because energy is a lot like water. It's always going to find a way to go. And so if there's a barrier, it's not going to go any farther. And a switch that's turned off can't take power going through it.
Great. All right. And so the 2045 plan, is that something that has a business case, or does it have like your goals and objectives?
I don't think it has a business case on there. I think it's a white paper. Wade. So it discusses, how we're going to achieve. It's more like an action plan and a roadmap with specific, things that we have to hit. When you say business case, like it doesn't talk about, like revenue and all that stuff. So
we think about, part of the program that you went through talked about making decisions from a sustainability perspective.
Right.
And so what we like is documents that we can use that say, here's how you can do this analysis. So if you have targets like, I'm sure they're at scale, where, okay, we're going to create a battery storage unit for 300 megawatts. So that will require X billion-dollar investment or whatever. So is that kind of data in there, or is it we want to be carbon neutral by 2045 and we're going to get there by expanding solar? And it's sort of at that level.
Yep, it is at that level. It shows, it does mention how much we need to invest in our grid to get to there. And it shows by by area, our grid investment that we have to make, like how much of it's going to be solar, how much is going to be storage, nuclear, importing electricity, let's see, it talks about grid operations. I brought it up right now. How much transformation has to be electric vehicles, like what percentage. So it talks about more than just Edison. It talks about like overall Southern California, our region, like what we have to hit, what targets we have to hit for electric vehicle buses, and light versus medium versus heavy duty vehicles. And talks about implications. It does talk about affordability and how that can be affected. over time.
Okay.
Yep.
We can look it over and see if there are segments or sections that would be relevant in the
You can, and then if there
classroom.
isn't something, reach out and we could make recommendations on this, because we want to lead the way in this, and we don't just want to publish something and then just move on. We want to publish something and then make changes as needed as a company, so that we can continue leading the way here. So there's the Pathway 45, and then there's the Clean Power and Electrification Pathway. That was our first publication, our first white paper in 2017, and the more recent 2019 Going Neutral Pathway 45 white paper. So, and then there are appendices as well, which I have yet to look through. It looks like there are 44 pages of appendices. We'll see if they have that in there. So I'm glad you're interested in this though, because this is what's going to get us there as a state, really. So
I'm sure you were wondering what you would do tonight. So now you've got an appendix. All right.
Yep, there you go. There you go. Grab it for another glass of wine. So yep. Cheers, Ingrid.
Hey,
right.
Dean, there's Hanny's on the line if you want to introduce Hanny.
Thank you, Monique. Yeah, Henny, welcome. Henny is our current president of S.A.F.E 24/7, and he took the reins just a couple months ago, and he is leading this organization, for the next 2 years or so. And he's got his S.A.F.E 24/7 shirt on. Henny, how you doing?
All right.
Very good. Thank you.
Good.
Thank you so much. This is very informative, and I'm glad that I'm having this opportunity to thank you for the outreach program that we have within S.A.F.E 24/7. And I just want to add one piece. As a matter of fact, I want to, in regards to the small business or business customers. So we do have a division within customer service called the Business Customer Division, and they do have account managers that help small businesses or commercial businesses to for more efficient equipment like light bulbs, and even designing the internal, and even suggesting if they have like heavy equipment that they manufacture or something. So they suggest also the time of use depending on the tariff or the rates that available depending on the time of use. So I just wanted to share that as well.
Great.
Yeah, thank you, Henny. And by the way, I've been looking through the appendix, and Wade, it has some really cool like cost curves and really cool like equations in here from a financial perspective or economic standpoint, talking about levelized costs and lifetime financing periods and all that fun stuff. And it has like levelized cost of capacity for different types of resources, solar versus wind versus geothermal. And you can compare them all. It's
all right.
cool. And then it shows different supply curves via different scenarios, like a balanced scenario versus like a heavy solar scenario. And so yeah, they're going through a lot of those calculations. I haven't yet seen like the overall business case for it, but I mean, just looking at this, it shows how much cheaper solar electricity is overall. So
absolutely.
Oh, that's great, because we can just assign the appendix then to the class.
Yep. Page 36 through, no, even before that. So yeah, lots of pages of it. So yeah, page 32 through, keep going. Yeah, it just keeps going through like 40. So,
all right.
Yep. All right. Well, Alex, Monique, Sarah, Henny, thanks for jumping on here tonight, and for recording this informative webinar that Wade and Ingrid can use with their students and local entrepreneurs throughout the Institute for Innovation and Entrepreneurship throughout California, or Southern California, I guess, at Cal State Long Beach. I'm sure we're all exhausted. It's 8:15. Thanks for going over an extra 15 minutes. You guys have a good night. And again, thank you, Wade and Ingrid.
Thank you. It was very
Thank you.
informative.
And
Good.
we will definitely put it on our website for small businesses to refer to.
Perfect. Thank you,
Excellent.
Wade. So,
Sounds
All
great.
right.
Good night.
good night.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you,
all.
everyone. Bye-bye.
Oh, I'm going to reclaim the host.